don't I get? I don't understand. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. Put this up here. This over here. Get this all out of the way. Wow. All right. Hey, good. Romero, hello. And HL, Randy. I'm going to come on early. I can't make anything work. I haven't learned how to use this system yet. So I was going to try to practice with a couple of things, but didn't work, so I give up. I'll learn. 95 degrees. Hey Randy, thank you for commenting. Why isn't? Oh, I have to go like this. Yeah, you can tell I've signed up for a new service. And I'm just learning it. Hello, wow. The one is first. And Zizu right behind. And Scott, Romero, Mark, Randy, Mark, Anthony. Maui, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So there were some, I was going to try to set up scenes and link, and I couldn't. But there was some interesting, of course now I got to find it here. I can find it again very easily. I'll find it again. But here it is. Very interesting article in RT, and it's not like I read RT constantly. But one thing that I've kind of wondered about is why has the United States used the SWIFT system so harshly against Russia, Iran, and others, and then the BRICS system automatically pops up, and to me that just is too easy. The depth of the marketplace that even how many ever countries it is, 28, sets up versus the depth of the United States bond market or the lack of a Federal Reserve. These seem to be critical issues. And I think before there's a rush over to the BRIC alternative, although in this modern day when technology just goes so quickly, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like the dollar is not going to go down that quickly and not without a fight. Anyway, I found I found this article in Russia Today, RT, dated September 6th. Has the United States finally succeeded in choking off Russia's biggest trade lifeline? The resilience of the Russian economy in the face of, remember, this is RT. I agree with them, but you guys might not. The resilience of the Russian economy in the face of harsh Western sanctions sent those cheering the rise of multipolarity into victory laps, BRICS. And it has been a huge embarrassment to the West. This is written by RT. But Russia's burgeoning problem, settling payments with China, demonstrates that this resilience is not without setbacks. And remember, Russia is, as Barack Obama so charitably described it, a regional power with a gas station, with a gas pump. Well, I think Obama is wrong and is arrogant, but it is true that Russia has massive resources of oil and natural gas, and the pipelines now turn down to our competitor, which is still in the developing nation category. But ever since Bill Clinton's time, we've shared technology, patents, education, preferential economic treatment with China. And you got to wonder who. Anyway, we'll leave whether or not there's enemies infiltrating the United States aside. It's a different art. It's a different concept. But China is trying to be. During World War II, the United States was called the arsenal of democracy. We had factories in New York City, factories in Chicago, factories in Detroit. We could build tanks, and in Newport News we could build, in Baltimore we could build ships. We had steel factories. What do we have now? Everything's out of China and other places, but China. So China wants to be the economic engine of a new middle class in Southeast Asia, China, Russia, the Middle East. The China Mall in Dubai is just stunning in its size and scope. Anyway, the pipelines bringing oil and natural gas from Russia down to China they skipped the American payment system, the US dollar payment system, SWIFT. And that's what I think they're talking about here. Russia's burgeoning problem settling payments with China demonstrates that this resilience of the Russian economy is not without setbacks. This past June, the United States Treasury put the local banks of countries who trade with Russia in the crosshairs for secondary sanctions. It's brilliant. It's brilliant what we're doing to our image in the world. Thank God for Samantha Powers and Victoria Nuland. Thank God. I'm so glad these people are in charge. Well, Newland's gone now. The legal foundation for measures against companies or individuals found to be trading with sanctioned entities was originally implemented back in December, but it was in June that Washington expanded this framework and sent signals that this time the United States was serious. These threats were felt particularly acutely in China. China, who is Russia's largest trade partner. Why aren't we? All because Hillary lost an election? Why aren't we? It started with the big state-owned Chinese banks, which began shying away from dealing with Russia at the beginning of the year, this year. But there were always smaller regional banks, which were seen as less exposed to the Western financial system, who could take their place. For a while, it seemed these banks would carry the day. But now even these institutions have followed suit. By the summer, Chinese banks were rejecting and returning about 80% of Russian payments made in Chinese yuan. Kommersant reported in late July. An article in Izvestia from mid-August claimed that things got even worse. 98% of Chinese banks were refusing to take direct yuan payments from Russia. The result has delayed and disrupted payments from many Russian importers. A Reuters report from last week discussed how transactions with Russia are being shut down en masse, and billions of yuan worth of payments are now being held up. At the moment, all cross-border payments with China have stopped. We found solutions, but it took about 3 weeks, which is a very long time. Many Russian businesses have had to use various chains of intermediaries with third countries to handle their transactions, which drives up costs and processing times. Anyway, I won't read it all. The cost of raising yuan for one day on the Moscow exchange has exploded. The overnight rate surged from 8.5% per annum to 42% per annum. Anyway, it does bear in mind, I'm skipped a bunch of paragraphs, that Russia-China trade is not exactly collapsing. In fact, despite the problems, turnover actually grew by 1.6% in the first half of the year. Moreover, the experience of the last few years has shown that whatever headwinds emerge end up being a strong driver of change. In July, China's ambassador to Russia, Zhang Hanhui, floated the possibility of cooperating via Russia's mirror payment system. It could be a stopgap measure. Legendary analyst Zoltan Pozsar, who sees central bank digital currencies as likely to revolutionize the financial landscape, explains that instead of correspondent banks, which form the backbone of the Western financial system, there will be what he calls correspondent central banks. This means that transactions which were previously dealt with between commercial banks in two different countries will be settled at the level of the central banks. Washington's Pyrrhic victory. Let's come back to the issue at hand and try to get a sense of what it means. The West has been deeply frustrated by its inability to put a significant dent in the Russian economy. I don't know why we're doing this. Hillary lost the election. Get over it. Having doubled and tripled down on its approach, it is now treating Russia's payment problems as confirmation that sanctions, when rigorously applied, can have the intended effect. Washington apparently feels that treading all over other nations' sovereignty is a reasonable trade-off for the benefit of pushing up the transaction costs for Russian businesses and proving that the yuan hasn't yet achieved the stature of the dollar. Some Western commentators are pointing out with glee that for all the rhetoric of friendship without limits between Moscow and Beijing, when forced to choose between doing business with Russia and retaining access to Western financial system, China is choosing the latter. But those celebrating China retaining access don't want to acknowledge that it is a choice made under duress. China would prefer to trade freely with both the West and Russia, and China deeply resents being hindered in doing so. The U.S. is behaving like a jealous lover who has locked the object of his affection in the basement and then claims that by not fleeing, she is showing a sign of devotion. The fading hegemon still has a few trump cards it can play with some effect, and it is playing them now. But every time it does, it brings closer the day in which those cards will be rendered obsolete. Anyway, I don't think we're quite there yet, but it's all of a piece. It's all of a time when, to put it bluntly, gold is going to be priced much higher in dollar terms. So Schechtman's saying that Kamala Harris will be your next president. Which must warm the cockles of your heart. Hey, Donald. I was watching a documentary. Oh, Lordy. I hope that's not true. I always have my computer on my lap. Oh, Lord. It makes sense. It could be because he was a jerk. Saud Jorge Gold Project. That might be interesting. Hey, Gary. Well, I agree. You know, it's interesting. the quality isn't all there. But you know what's funny? It isn't in the United States either. Uh, I try to eat, not every day, but I eat yogurt and I get Greek yogurt. But I just found out after Robert Kennedy's speech, I looked at it. There's so much sugar in yogurt. I don't know that we used to be the best, whether it was health, food, manufacturing. I'm not sure we are anymore. I'd like to get back there. I'd like to get back there. 7 billion. 7 billion. I didn't bring any coffee here. I'd love to have a bit. Yeah, 7 billion is how much he sold. He still has, what, 34 billion of the stock? It's interesting, and I don't know how to back this up, but because I'm not going to be able to find it. But one of the analysts that I try to listen to different analysts, I don't know, 2 months back, it was a while back, mentioned that Bank of America Merrill Lynch is one of the companies that might be the weakest bank. I think, I'm trying to remember who else he listed, but I remembered that one, that Bank of America might be in trouble. I don't know if it was commercial loans. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on that stock. I like all gold miners. And until gold miners in North America get expensive, I would rather be in North American. Wow, that's on the Amex. I didn't know the Amex was still around. I like that. The Amex used to be a good exchange. 92 cents. You've got to be careful if. I mean, the chart doesn't look particularly good. I guess the advantage is whenever it gets around 78 cents, it always rallies. But I don't know anything about it. I don't know. Let me see if there's an Amex exchange. I didn't think there was. I guess it is. It's part of the New York. So I guess they still subdivided into Amex. That's interesting. All right, so the symbol is what? GLDG. Gold Mining Inc. Trying to find out how many shares it has out. The volume, 998 million shares. Huge volume, which I guess could be good. Trading and data. Let me see what it says. This is an annoying. I can't find information. GLDG. So, according to Yahoo, which isn't always current, Oh, they have institutional ownership. That's good, I guess, depending on who they are. I can't find how many shares are outstanding. There it is. Oh, it's not that bad. 188 million shares outstanding. They have a nice website. And maybe they've found a lot of gold. They have uranium. I think they're in Canada too. Let's see, their projects are, yeah, Brazil, United States, Canada, Colombia, Peru. They have resource statement. Let me see what it says. That's Mark, that's too complicated for me to figure out right away. There's no totals to quickly read to you, but it looks good. Corporate. Management and directors. Amir Adnani. I've heard of him. I have heard of him. Adnan. David Garofalo. Gloria Balestra, Garnet Dawson, Herb Dhaliwal, Mario Garnero, David Kong, Anna Tudela, they seem to have a deep team. H.C. Wainwright and Roth Capital Partners follow the company, but it doesn't say buy or sell or whatever. Presentations. That's a nice website, goldmining.com. Lucky Ducks. They have 150 million in cash, which is not a lot. Market cap of 228 million. So most of their market cap is cash. They have 12.5 million ounces of gold as M&I. You've got me there, what M&I means. I can't think of what M and I means. I assume that's something close to proven. And then they have inferred resource of 9.7 million ounces. They did an IPO in 2023 for the Alaska project. They did another 90 million IPO. Issued and outstanding shares 188 million. Fully diluted 199 million. Key shareholders, the VanEck Junior Gold ETF, State Street Capital, Oppenheimer, Ruffer, Commodity Capital, and BlackRock. Analyst coverage, as I already told you, Roth and H.C. Wainwright. It says they have some, no debt, zero debt. Their projects: Alaska, Canada, Nutmeg Mountain in the United States. Let's find out more about that. So measured and indicated, that's M&I. Measured and indicated. So that's proven, I assume. And then inferred. Gold, copper, and silver. Nutmeg Mountain is a reawakened district in Idaho. My own private Idaho. They bought into it for $1 million. Nutmeg mining. So, according to their presentation, they have robust cash and they own stock in other companies. They have a diverse portfolio, proven team. And they're in Colombia. I can't say the letter C. Yellowknife Gold, Canada. The Gold Belt in Canada. I don't recognize any of the cities. Peru? Wow. Anyway, I like it, Mark. I don't know anything about it, but I like it. How can I buy more GTII? I don't think you should. I don't think you should, Zach. It's not a smart thing to do, but the GTII is in this, what's the name of that market? Expert market. It's in the expert market, which means you do not know the bid or the ask. You just don't know. It's only the bid and the ask is only shown on an unsolicited basis. There's no obligation to show every bid, the best bid. There's just no obligation. So you don't know those things. You don't know them. So it's stupid to buy. But let me just show you what that means. let's say the bid is 2 cents and the ask is 8 cents. Number one, that's a disaster. You pay 8 cents and immediately you can sell it at 2 cents. It's a disaster. It's an idiotic trade. But let's say you say to yourself, well, I'll put my order in at 2 cents, or I'll put my order in at 3 cents. Hopefully, if someone comes and sells, they'll hit my bid. There's no obligation to put your bid out there. So let's say you put a bid out there at 3 cents. So you're out there at 3 cents. There's no obligation to show that bid anywhere. And here's the problem, Zach. They're not going to fill it. They're not going to fill it. Fill it's the wrong word. They're not going to hit it. No one's going to sell down there. They're not going to move that offer down. Well, my opinion, and you can disagree with me, if they do fill your order, it's because the bid and ask has moved to 1 penny, 2 penny. And they filled your order because you're out there like a sucker, and it's just low-hanging fruit for them to take. So I wouldn't be upset that you can't buy GTII. Now, if you really want to buy GTII, I don't know where you go buy it. I suppose you call around. I guess IBKR might be a place. You open an account there, but I don't know where you could buy it. I really don't think it's a good idea. If you're buying it to add to your position because you hope something happens, I've just got to emphasize to you, I'm not a lawyer, but I think receivership sounds a lot like bankruptcy, and in bankruptcy, equity gets wiped out. But maybe receivership's different. Maybe, we'll find out. But this would bother me. I think it would be better, Zach, to wait until GTII comes out of receivership, cleansed either fully or partially by the court system. And I would rather pay 10 cents a share than just squander money off at 3 or 4 cents a share. But that's how I look at it. The shorts won in GTII. They won. Everything's rigged against us. We're not giving up. We're not giving up. And the big whales aren't giving up. And there's still hope. But if you own GTII, I don't think you need to own any more. I mean, if you want to trade, no one wants to. It bores everyone to tears. But for the longest time now, you've been able to buy Logic at 2 cents. I think it's now 3 cents. There's a trade, though. You might be able to double your money in that, triple your money, as soon as they announce these deals, which are already pre-announced. What else would be a low price trade? That's the only one I can think of right now. I'll try to come up with other penny stocks that might have something. It's the only one I can think of. I'm sure Ham will talk about that. My answer is I don't know. See, this is where over here there's scenes and there's buttons to push. I'd like to be able to show you a chart, but I can't figure out how to do it. Um, I don't think that the chart looks particularly good. On the other hand, it's probably irrelevant. Um, and if I had to guess, they'll try to get the stock down to the 20-day moving average. They'll try to get it under $5, maybe 470, 475. Scare everybody. They're going to try to scare everybody. The easy trade obviously was, what, 2 weeks ago. It ran to 12 briefly. I'm going to say it's not over. I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over. I think they're just playing games right now to try to scare people. I'm not sure I'd commit new money to it unless maybe under the market you put a buy order down at 480 or 460 or 475, and maybe that's worth it. But if they really, I'm talking about the shorts, or if they're really in control, they could drive it back. There's a lot of risk there. You could lose half your money in a spike. But just from the things Ham said last week, I don't think it's over with, Benjamin. I don't think it's over with. It's LGIQ. Let me just look at that symbol, LGIQ. And it's interesting that for 2 days in a row, I don't know, I guess a couple of weeks ago, it broke above the 200-day moving average. Then it pulled back quickly, traded kind of sideways. And now 2 days in a row, it's above the 200-day moving average. The symbol is and it's now basically 3 cents. LGIQ. This was a busticated Aubrey SPAC deal. I think on purpose. Shadron Financial. But anyway, it was a busted de-SPAC deal, and they've spent about 9 months, 8 months getting out of trouble after the horrendous job that Aubrey did. Whether they want to take responsibility for it or not, one of the bankers, I don't know if it was Aubrey or Shadron, were well paid for their terrible work. But anyway, in all the press releases, they locked down one deal, and they're going to do 6 more. I'm giving you what the release said. All valued probably 750 million. That's what it said, over 750 million. If the company does all of those sort of at the same time rather than stretching them out, it works out to 45 cents, 50 cents, 55 cents, 35 cents, 60 cents a share, is something in that big range. And when you look at this chart for logic, just the last year, basically when Aubrey Advisors did such a disastrous job. Aubrey, terrible job. Shadron Financial. I think if they're not criminals, the job they did should be described as criminal. But, it's a good time to tell you my videos are my opinion, my judgment, editorial. Anyway, the stock broke down after the de-SPAC, and there's a gap right around 17, 18 cents. So I don't know if you want to wait that long, but I think at 3 cents, the next stop is 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8. And if it breaks through 9, it could go to 16, 17, even 18. It could go to 20 cents. But I'm just pointing out that it could be a nice trade. 3 cents if you got out at 6 cents. It's double your money, you know. And I think those things are going to start getting firmed up now, because if they wait much longer, they're going to have to get their financials, which is not a big deal, but they'll have to get their financials current again. And that takes a little bit more time. FOMO, MMTOP, FOMO. I'm missing your point. There's nothing to miss out on in MMTOP. It doesn't trade. It's not anything. MMTOP is an accounting fiction that allows brokerage firms and regulators to know how many shares of MMTLP were purchased for cash, for real cash, but the broker-dealer did not demand receipt, and the seller did not locate, did not borrow, did not own, did not deliver. That's all MMTLP is. But I don't know how there can be a FOMO. I think there's a 2-year statute of limitations that is coming up, but I'm not a lawyer. Maybe that's when you found out about the fraud. Did you file something or? But anyway, that 2 years is coming up. People are blithely looking the other way. The door is wide open, but all the way up, you have to do it. They're not going to do it for you. You have to pick yourself up bodily, in the expression that how else are you going to pick yourself up? But you have to pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and say, you know what? I'm going to go claim my asset. But if you do it, the door's wide open. There's plenty of shares in NextBridge right now to go claim. But I think actually all the way up, there will not be FOMO in MMTLP. Schwab would not let me. I don't think you guys want to be. I don't think you guys want to be trading GTII. It won't be hard once there's clarity for the company to make a filing. On the other hand, if there's fraud inside of what was going on, it could take months, it could take years in the court system. There's no reason to own it. You're just I don't know what the word is. You're just kind of I mean, it's the height of an uninformed investment decision. You know a lot of the players are working on your side. You know that there's efforts being made, but you don't know how the receivership's going to turn out. You don't know how trading's going to be, and you don't know the status of the back and forth of the lawsuits. You might be proven right, but it's just a matter of, it would just be a matter of pure chance, pure chance. Um, so Pete the Greek, I read this the other day to you. I don't know if you were here. Um, but on the 13th of August, which is Fidel Castro's birthday, HNRC announced its financials for the second quarter of 2024. And I mean, it's not pertinent to your question, but they had revenue, they had earnings, and they announced a much reduced NAV from what they had said earlier. They have it here at 21 cents for the second quarter of 2024. But then they updated, Pete the Greek, their portfolio companies. They have Cunningham Mining, and Cunningham Mining raised $150 million. Now, it doesn't say here, I don't know how much they own of Cunningham. Oh, here it does say it. HNRC owns 9% of Cunningham Mining, and they expect a liquidity event on that asset later this year. So this is August 13th, and maybe that'll redound to us as shareholders. They talk about they started CE Energy Sponsors, SPAC sponsorship. They talked about Rhino Energy. They talked about H&R Acquisition, which I think that's another SPAC that was done wrong by. But I like their asset. And then they talked about Cunningham Energy having reserves, appraised value of reserves of $352 million. But they need to drill those wells, or drill a bunch of them, before they can realize that appraised value. Now, I'll look up how many shares it has. I forget. But anyway, Pete the Greek, they talk about worldwide diversified holdings. So let me read it to you. It's only 2 sentences. Worldwide Diversified Holdings has applied for listing on the OTCQB as a result of the spin-off of the company's non-energy assets. WDHI has identified an initial target company and has received initial indications of interest in financing the acquisition. I read that as being a reverse merger to a shell company. WDHI is also evaluating opportunities to merge with an existing public company. The listing is expected to be completed in the third quarter. And that's really all. That's really all I know, Pete, is what they put out in writing. How long can it take? I'd say to the third quarter. I think they've changed what they said before, so it makes me a little leery to trust what they're saying now. Personally, I'm glad, just for me, because I have a bunch of these shares. Remember, they told us they'd be worth $3.50 a share out of the gate, maybe as high as $5. I'd like to see them realize that. So anything he can do to put it in a vehicle which can withstand your selling, other people's selling, maybe I'll sell, I don't know, it depends on the news. I'm fine to wait, but I know it's hard waiting sometimes you feel like it'd be better to get out at 20 cents a share than having to wait a whole year to have it trade at $3.50 a share. But I'd rather wait and have a good transaction that actually has meaningful trading support than just a slapdash deal just to get it done. But, it's frustrating. They said it would be, to my memory, they said it would be trading last November, October, almost a year ago. Almost a year ago. Well, less than a year ago, So, anyway, that news there says third quarter. I don't know what the FOMO is. Don't know what that is. FOMO, Nextbridge FOMO? Well, that might be more true all the way up, if there's such a thing as more true or less true. True is an absolute. So let me just say it differently. That may be true. I think there will come a time when people sitting in MMTLP are going to panic and say, oh my gosh, I better get over to Nextbridge before they're all out of shares. And I think you should try to beat that rush. I don't know that there's going to be a panic anytime soon. So if you want to sit on your haunches and do nothing, go ahead. I think it's silly. I think the Roth Capital financing is going to disappoint everyone because they're going to say, oh, it should have been $100 a share. It should have been $500 a share. I think it's very likely going to disappoint people. On the other hand, I think it's going to be fantastic financing. Fantastic. I think it's going to allow them to drill their 5 wells and complete them, renew their acreage, add to their acreage, and go out and buy other assets. I think it's going to be great for shareholders. It's going to be awesome for shareholders. And as shareholders start to understand that Nextbridge is moving on and is not waiting around for Congress, people might say, you know what? I'd rather take my chances with the moving train rather than this decrepit, obsolete, non-moving buggy wagon that's rusting in the graveyard of horse-drawn carriages. I'm not aware of that. Yeah, Ham's not here. He'll come on in half an hour. I don't think DJT raised any money, but let's see. I know they filed the whatever it is, S1 or S3, but I don't think they raised the money. It doesn't say they raised money. I think it's down combination that it looks like X is winning. Now that X is ostensibly a free speech platform, on the other hand, it's run by a woman who is I don't know. I think she does constrain free speech in her past life, but whatever. The raison d'etre for Truth Social kind of disappears. Trump uses Twitter a little bit anyway. So anyway, it might be down because of that. The other reason I think it's down is because the lockup period is expiring. I don't want to spend the time looking it up. It's either October or November. And the shorts know that, so they short it down. I also think it might be predictive of who's going to win the election. And right now, there is so much propaganda out there, and Kamala is following a basement or a rose garden strategy, and I think she's being disingenuous. But I look, all she has to win is Philadelphia, and it's not that far from JFK, where plane loads of ballots can be flown in pre-printed and pre-filled out, loaded into a truck, and driven down, delivered at 4:30 in the morning, plywood put up, and by the time everyone's awake, 9 a.m., Hillary's won the election. So, I mean, this is what's coming. And anyway, in that environment, DJT would probably not be a great investment. Mitch Wexler. Sorry for coughing. I should have brought some Mitch Wexler. I'll look it up. I don't need no rocking chair. Shrub will not let me buy Logic. Shrub, is that Chuck Schwab? Who is Shrub? I don't know. Frank, hi. I have a small interest I have a small interest. I wish I had bought more. I'm very excited for NextBridge. I don't own MMTLP. Uh, I bought MMTLP. I believe I bought it on the Tuesday, which would be December 6th, and on the Wednesday, December 7th. And then I didn't buy any more. I wish I had on the Thursday, December 8th. I wish I had. But at the time, my source of funds was to sell GTII and I think a little finger. Can't remember what I had in my account. And I didn't really want to. I thought GTII, I still had this view that it was in the middle of a squeeze. In retrospect, that wasn't the case, or it was, and then it got crushed by the help of these three guys. I'm not blaming them. It's, they got seduced by the shorts. And anyway, I wish I had bought more MMTLP. I overpaid. I paid $8, like $7.96 or something. And I never, Frank, thought that I would get the opportunity to move my shares of MMTLP into real shares of NextBridge. I thought that there would be such a riot to get those real shares that I'd never get it done in time. But it turns out in August of the first year, I got my real account shares transferred. And then in maybe March of this year, I got my IRA shares out. I had to move them first to my regular account, and I couldn't believe it. I'd figured all the shares of NextBridge would be taken because it's just blindingly obvious. But I think the propaganda that Double D is giving on Twitter has worked, and people are just sitting. I don't know why, because MMTLP is worthless. And Frank, need to say to you uh, and to everyone, because I put out a lot of videos where I thought the settlement price, if there were a resolution, if there were a settlement, and etc., a reconciliation, would be very, very high. After 2 years of nobody caring except courageous, hardworking people of the community, which I support, I really think, Frank, that any kind of settlement is going to be wheeled off of the Roth capital raise. Why, Frank? Two reasons. The other side will go into the judge and say, well, Frank had 667 days to request shares of NextBridge for his shares of MMTLP, and he didn't do it. We, Your Honor, after 2 years, we feel our obligation. We could have done it all day long. We feel our obligation in that regard to timely provide shares of NextBridge in exchange for MMTLP. We feel we stood ready. He never asked. We did our duty. That's the number one argument I think they'll make. Second argument they're going to make, and it bothers me, but I've got to tell you, this is what I believe now. They're going to say, the lawyers are going to say, it's been 667 days. NextBridge has done a couple of minor transactions, it looks like at the $1-2 range. The stock price closed at 280. And Your Honor, there's no evidence that this stock is worth more than that $1, $2, $3 a share. There's no evidence. And in fact, Your Honor, your offer, we have proof from a widely disseminated prospectus by one of the industry's top investment bankers who had access to the books, had access to the data, and they priced their deal at X. I don't know what that X will be, but I think it won't be very high. Partly because the shorts will be manipulating from the other side, going through a front, pretending to be a family office or a real investor. And there's just no way around the rigging. Hopefully, Greg McKay will say, we don't want that client, that client, that client. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I just don't think the reconciliation, settlement, whatever, is going to be any higher than the Roth Capital deal. Why? Because that Wall Street owes you 1-for-1 as of December 14th, I think it was, the Wednesday. They haven't done it, but they're going to argue to you, Frank, it's in the FINRA fact sheet. It's in the Meta, if that website's still there, fact sheet. It's definitely in the NextBridge fact sheet. It's incumbent upon you to call your broker. And a lot of people are sitting around at the advice of Double D because feeling entitled. Well, you can feel entitled all you want. It says in black and white, you have to pick up the phone. But in terms of it working out, Frank, two things. If you move your MMTLP to NextBridge, you're not going to miss out on a settlement, in my judgment. Nothing is going to go quickly. And if the imbalance is 1 billion shares, and I've heard it could be larger than that, to get it resolved in some way, if some sort of settlement were to come, they're going to want real shares of NextBridge in the mix. But you have to determine if you think that somehow holding a worthless accounting entry is your best way to participate in a resolution, and that's better than owning the real thing. That's up to you. I am extremely excited, Frank. Of course, you don't like to wait. It's a private company. That was what the deal was. That's the deal. Wall Street took 2 days of trading, sure. That's never coming back, and it shouldn't. You'll be robbed. You will be stripped if those 2 days ever came back. But private companies are about waiting, and you can't trade. Thank God. That means the shorts can't trade either. They can't crush it. This thing would be under a penny if it traded, and they can't do it. Thank God. And in the meantime, Frank, it just seems so repetitive, but maybe you missed it. The auditor for, I don't know where they hooked up. Did they hook up when it was MMAT Torchlight or MMTLP? I don't know. But the auditors, this Borders, that got sanctioned. So NextBridge had to go back and redo 2 years of numbers. They got a big impairment, unfortunately, but it's a non-cash impairment. It doesn't change anything. And in fact, it's a good tax advantage later on, I think. I'm not a tax attorney. But they got those done. It took time and money. And then they got the first quarter financials done. They got the second quarter financials done. Now they can get the Roth Capital financing done that was announced a year ago. They can finally get that done. And Frank, they can drill 5 additional wells, bringing the wells drilled to over 20. And if there's nothing there, no company would drill 20-some wells if they were drilling into nothing. It doesn't mean it's going to be commercial. There's a lot of things that still need done. But they can hold their leases. 134,000 contiguous leases is worth a lot of money. Potentially. Once it produces, you're talking massive amounts of money. Then they're going to be able to extend their leases, pay for that. And they can add to their leases. They may be able to go out and buy cash flow. Go out and buy another small company. Or just sit on that cash that they raise and say, you know what, our CapEx for 2025 is going to be 30 wells drilled. Frank, I think it's a great deal. But anyway, you can be disillusioned, and I'm excited. I'm excited by NextBridge. But you're right. It doesn't mean it's going to work. That's why they have to raise money and drill more wells. But I'm excited I own NextBridge, not MMTLP. I think MMTLP is as worthless as the toilet paper that you drag out of the trains, the Amtrak train's restroom by mistake on the back of your shoe. You could write me a letter. My email is Farrand Balanced. I don't know, can I type here? I'll just write it down. I don't know this new system. It's just a little bit of a play off of Fox Noise, Fair and Balanced. That's my name. That's how you pronounce my name, Farrand. Farrandbalanced at gmail.com. Farrandbalanced at gmail.com. Farrandbalanced at gmail.com. Farrandbalanced at gmail.com. He died. I don't think the cause of death was announced, but something says in my head it was a heart attack. The stock's strong since then. I met Cortez. I met the CEO, sat next to him, interviewed him. And listened to his talk. He was an extremely impressive guy, very good-hearted, and he was a Vietnam vet, and he graduated, I want to say, Georgetown Medical School. I could be wrong on that. He maintained a home in Georgetown, D.C., and in Atlanta. He's a good guy, good man. There may have been something suspicious about it. He seemed in good health, and I don't know why, if he had blood pressure, he's an MD, why he wouldn't be taking the medicine for that. So it's a real shame, and I'll try to get an answer. I'll try to get into the new people there. Oh, that's interesting, MVP chair. That's interesting. If he doesn't mind it, that's a great idea. People could just take his lawsuit and copy and paste. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. I'll do it. Unless you want to be bent over the rest of your life, law and order is only there so they can maintain power and rob us. While they put the guy trying to feed homeless in prison. Yeah, I'm starting to think uh, there is a pattern to this suppression. And first you could argue it was based on race. Then you could argue it's based on citizenship. Then you could argue it's based on education, based on um, male versus female, or whether your gender is fluffy strawberry cake, or if it's a woman. You can subdivide our society and turn it all against each other, but then it's controlled by the people that benefit. I think it's the banks, the banksters, and I think it's the debt. People are paying as much as they can afford on a monthly payment to buy a home. Well, that's great, but it's also debt. You know, debt is slavery. Hey, John. Um, I'm going to run out of time. We've only got about 12 minutes before Ham calls in. And I wanted to tell people, those of you who invested in this micro cap gold company, uh, which is essentially private, although it still has a symbol and could start trading again. I guess I won't be able to go through the research like I've done before. But what I want to say is, at some point, I expect to get information that the funding is completed for the bigger raise, the total 5 million raise to build out the pilot plant. This system here has a link to Zoom, and maybe I can do a call with all of you simultaneously once this offering closes. It hasn't quite closed, but once it does, um, then maybe that's what I can do, is have a Zoom call, which I think the participants can be controlled, and then I can go over some of the details. But I was playing with it the other day. This research, which was written a while ago by an analyst I know, there's 174 million tons of material, of resource, and then he says they're going to drill for another 100 million tons. I actually think, based on the conversations I've had with the prime mover since then, because they had an earthquake out there and they learned more about the geology of this resource, that number one, this is down to 200 feet. I think they can go down to 600 feet, but they can also drill in between the two zones they have and outward. So anyway, I was using double, not 100 more, adding 174 million tons. And just playing with the numbers, we don't know yet. But it could be a $40 stock. It could be more than a $40 stock. It's pretty exciting. And this is the power of higher gold prices. And it's the power of miners right now, because miners are undervalued. No one's really buying them. So, but we've only got 9 minutes to go. I'll leave it at that for now. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that's. Hey Cortez, I know I watched your video. Yeah, I wonder, Cortez. I hate being. I don't like conspiracies that are just off the wall. But that jet that went down in Brazil, I forget when, a couple of months ago, it was a smaller jet. But a lot of doctors were killed all at once, who apparently had either a cure for cancer or a cure for something in the heart. They're boom. It makes you wonder, It does make you wonder. And I don't know the answer. I don't know how to find out. But I'll try to get maybe a interview or more information. I like Trout's lawsuit does have legs. Awesome. I love this idea MVP chair. I love that idea. Particularly if it can be done inexpensively of course, a lawyer will come along to try to consolidate all of them, and she'll do it, for 40% of the profit, which is probably a good deal because none of us will have the money to prosecute a lawsuit. Finger shorts will be, yeah. My opinion, Justin, is the system, because the warrants will trade two aspects. One is they can just counterfeit, they can put placeholders in your account that say you have the warrants. And all they have to do is if you sell them, they just have to give you cash. And they know not everybody's going to sell at the same time. That's one. It's a weakness. Two, the warrants become something that bankers can create, for lack of a better term, a credit default swap against. They can create documents that hedge the risk, sign them, pay some premiums, and it allows them to continue to manipulate. Those are my negatives. The positive is that having said what I first said, that it's unlikely that these brokerage firms like Fidelity maybe and the rest want to commit fraud, because remember, Finger already put out a dividend as a warrant as a dividend, I guess it's better said. And I think it was causing a squeeze before the shorts came in with cosmology and blew it out of blew up the squeeze. So it'll be hard for Wall Street to say in a court, well, we didn't know we had a problem, Your Honor. The good guys' lawyers will say, well, they did know. This is what happened in November of, whatever, 2 Novembers ago. So you might be right. And the company's going to issue roughly 5 million warrants. It's possible there's an additional 20 million that need to be delivered. So it could be quite dramatic. 3 o'clock he comes on. Doesn't it say it on the title of this? Ham comes on in 5 minutes. I better get that speaker going.
Battery 40%. Connected to Bill's iPhone.
Okay, speaker's going. Bad judge can screw it up. What do you mean? For MMTLP? Webull will not let you buy Logic. Oh, because I think Webull is a fraudulent platform. I mean, they tell you. I don't think they deal in real shares. I bought mine on E-Trade. Mitch Wexler. All right, let's see. We got, yeah, there you go, Robert. 3 o'clock. Finger getting close to a demand zone. Yeah. I think there's good things coming on Finger in terms of their finally progress in these bigger contracts. But remember also, September will be over soon. And then we've only got October, November before tax loss selling. So everything's a dance. If the stock doesn't perform well over the next 60 days or so, you might see some tax loss selling. Not a lot, I don't think. I don't think any of the big players are going to sell. But it's always something. All right, 3 minutes before the hamster comes on. And I think he's missing his football. It's so dangerous to get married. Who's Tyreek Hill? He just got arrested. Terrible. Poor guy. George W. Bush backs. Oh, he's just not. He's just not going to support Trump. I don't know if the U.S. Open is on. Oh, it is. Sinner 6-3 over Fritz. See, I told you it'd be a boring final. Boring, boring, boring. Univest still interested in what? I can't click you. I can't. Oh, God. There it is. Yeah, it's still interested in finger? No. I don't know the answer. I think they are. But that contract has been out there for a while, and I think it's mutually dissolvable. I think one side, all by their own sum, can say, let's divorce and give 30 days notice. Just because Univest is interested doesn't mean Univest has, one, performed, or two, presented any deals that look attractive to Finger. We don't know. I don't know. But that's my guess. The other thing is Univest could show a deal that's shite. All right, here he is. Shh. Don't tell him you're here. Shh, 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 shh. All right, I got to get that speaker going. I did just do that. All right, you're live, I think. You are.
All right, everybody.
You're
Watching the
live.
football games, and I know I'm taking away from your Sunday, but I like to be prepared for the beginning of the week. And
Call from Mike Theron.
that I'm hearing, can you hear me, William?
Yeah, I just got a call in.
All
Yep.
right. You want to grab it, gun?
No, no,
Hold
no.
on.
I sent it to voicemail.
I'll start off with I'll just start off with the GDC, okay? And we're hearing that Fidelity has a huge problem. Also hearing there's a group of investors. I don't know how many are in there. Maybe it's 20 or 30 of them. That I'm told that these guys own north of the whole float, way, way, way past it already. So I don't think it's dead, but the shorts are always playing games, and they're trying to do everything they can to get people to sell. But I think there's a strong group from what I'm hearing that owns this company, and I don't know where they're from. I don't know who they are, but that's what I heard. And let's see if that plays out. A small group owning the whole company could be interesting. All right. So again, we hear through Fidelity is a problem. I guess shareholders can't get their shares or whatever it may be. I don't know. And don't forget, we heard the rumor that J.P. Morgan has that big buy order, through contact. So let's see what happens. It's interesting. Again, manipulation is easy. Stock settlement is tough. Again, so you can see As soon as the market closed, it closed at 562 after the assault down. They try to mark it down another 15, 20 cents. It's always negative, negative, negative. Again, you've seen it in finger motions, the same pattern. So if you're in it, that's what I hear. Again, I'm not long it. Just want to let you know what I heard, and we'll go from there. William, I spoke with a couple of shareholders that are they own pretty good positions in finger. And their question to me was, can we get William to have another conference call with the CEO this week?
Well,
And
I can't speak
my
for the
opinion-
CEO, but I'm available.
Well, again, I think that you should try to reach out, and maybe we can get some answers on the dividend. Maybe you'll get a little color on that the big contract.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get an idea of earnings, if they are able to say anything, how he feels about it. These are the things they were asking me. And again, you're the one that holds the interviews. I don't. And I'm still waiting for my answer about how the shareholders feel about the attacks. Excuse me, how the workers of the company feel about the constant attacks against the jobs they're performing.
The one question I was supposed to ask, and I forgot.
Yeah, I still that's my question. Because as an employee of a company, just like a shareholder, these people are working and they get stock in the company, and whether they told their friends to buy it, people that work there, they have to be quite upset about the action in the stock versus their performance. So that was my question. But if you can somehow work on that, maybe somehow send them an email.
Well, he's always glad to do it, but he might tell me he has to wait until earnings. I don't know. I'll ask him.
Yeah, just say if you can get something like that going, because we're 42 trading days out. Everyone, I made a mistake. Someone counted, and I was off by 3 days, so it wasn't 45. We're down to 42 as of Monday. So we'll be below 40 this week. So excuse me, things are rapidly moving in our direction. So again, I think it'd be great if you can get something out from the CEO this week. Give everybody a little boost and see if we can all get to see what's going on. Get behind the scenes as much as we can get, and this way keep people that want to add to the position that these people want to add, and they're just asking me if we could do it. And I said I would ask you today. So
My answer is yes. I can't speak for.
No, I'm saying if you
Martin.
can try to get something that this week. I don't know what day he's available, but maybe you can get that going this week. And this way, because between 42 and 0, we're not going to, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen between these these numbers. And guys, following me that know me, all believe that something big's going to happen here, and they want to adjust their positions, maybe add whatever they want to do. It's up to them. But I get the feeling that they believe that this thing's going to take off, and they want to be more well-positioned. And I think maybe a little pep talk from the CEO would turn these guys over the hill. All right. So, again, that's something that if you can do that, that'll be great. If you can't, that's just the way it is. Again, when we get to 25 days, I'm going to reach out to Patrick Byrne and get a conference call going with him. And I can get him to speak about what he's going to do once he becomes in charge, once he gets in the administration, and we can see what the attack or the approach. I told you people have been reaching out to me, telling me that it takes time to create new laws for the stock settlement, and I told everyone the rules are on the books; they just need to be enforced. All right. Again, if you go back, the Andrew Left saga, which everyone sort of thinks is a joke, the short and distort guys have got real problems. These guys are giving each other up, starting with that Anson fund. And for those who don't know, it's the story with the big frog on it. Is it a frog or a toad, William? I forget what you called it. But it's a pretty
toad.
Good piece. Yeah, and you can see. If you just read the story, take your time, look at it. I know the names don't mean shit to anybody here, but those people that's a hub of naked short selling, that Anson fund. And I'm sure guys with deals always looking for some backers. They went to those guys, Hal Mintz, Jeff Easton. When there's a deal, when the deal's too big, Goldman, a co-underwriter, Goldman gets, Goldman can bring J.P. Morgan in as a partner on a deal. So that happens on Wall Street. As you can see, we found Hal Mintz, the guy from Savvy Management, has been partners with Jeff Easton on deals. Maybe it was a little too big for their budget, and they split it. Okay, and they both terrorized the companies together. All right, so I mean, sometimes these guys, the deals are over their heads, and they bring in a partner. So I think that Anson Fund was somebody that I guess we can call him as a big brother to all the little crooks. And they were using Canaccord out of Canada. Canaccord's been notorious as a naked short seller for many years. U.S. orders were going from U.S. to Canaccord back into the U.S. That was the gateway of naked short selling for a long time. So Canaccord's CEO is in trouble. If you read the story, they're all throwing each other under the bus. And now Andrew Left has moved back his court date from September 24th, a year back. So obviously the DOJ is going to prosecute others that Andrew Left has given up. They need time to get their cases, and their cases will eventually start locking up other people. I know it doesn't help us in a minute, but the longer this goes on, the more people are going to go down. And the trade is on the long side, not the short side anymore. I think what we're seeing, everybody, is just they're hitting us with pillows, meaning these aren't the attacks we used to see. Even GDC, I mean, they smashed it down and they stopped, got it to 550, whatever it was, and they stopped. Remember, this stock went up from below $1 up to 12. So someone got smoked there. Others are trying to get control of it, but they're really not. It's just been drifting. It had a spike up to 743. They pushed it back down, but not on big volume again. So basically, I think they're running out of gas. They're here. Don't get me wrong. They're still playing. But I think they're being very gingerly. For example, GDC. Everyone's expecting them to come out with some stupid story. The company's shit, this, that, the butcher, the baker, the whole thing. That's the story they always use. We can't write a story and say the company's great. We need to get the CEO to say something on finger motion, right? We can read it, but again, we always go for verification from the CEO. When the CEO speaks on a video, he's really, he's putting himself on the line because whatever he's saying is proof, is video evidence, correct, William? We can say that, right?
That's true.
Versus everybody else just saying, well, the CEO, I heard this. We're hearing it straight from him. That's why I think that people want to see more of the CEO, because the more he says, the stronger it is. Right? Maybe we can get, like I said, we can get a feeling about new business, revenues, maybe, whatever it may be, you can ask him the questions yourself. But again, I think the store crowd is shitting their pants because, writing these stories on, all these little websites trying to get people to bash the stocks. I think Andrew Left and the short gang is definitely under fire from the DOJ. I don't know how they haven't grabbed Capybara yet, but I think it's all roads are going to lead to all these guys getting caught. Capybara, what was that guy's name? White Rock Research? Was that the one? William, do you remember him from
White
GTI?
Diamond.
Oh, White Diamond. Sorry, that guy's a total buffoon. But guys like that that are fronts for the shorts, they pay them. They put the stories out, and then when they start shorting it, if anyone calls them in, they say, "Well, I read White, whatever his name is, Capybara's or Andrew Left's report," and they use that as cover. But I think that whole game is being shut down. All right, they need to have factual information, and that's by William getting the CEO on. We will have factual information, not just what me and William think. Everyone gets to see what the CEO says, and everyone loves to watch a video. Most people don't like to read, but it's right there to watch. All right. Again, I'm going to set up a conference call with Patrick Byrne into day 25. We're at 42 right now. So as we get closer to the election, I will set that up. I did hear that Devin Nunes is, they're making noise behind the scenes. I don't know exactly what they're waiting for, but they've been beating the shit out of that stock up because they believe that the insiders are going to sell it based because of the filing. All right. From what I hear, they're not doing anything. These guys have been shorting it. And this goes back to, William, I'll say 2000. I can't remember when Facebook went public, but I actually wrote a report to Mark Zuckerberg back in the day. I think it went public around $40, I'll say.
38 or 42, I think.
Right, yeah, right. And they beat the shit out of it down to $18. And the stories were, after it went public, it was the greatest thing in the world. And then the story started right after that, how the company has all these people on Facebook and they have no way,
$38.
and they had no revenue. They had no way to produce revenue, and they used that against it. They drove the stock from the IPO price, which was the hottest thing in the world, all the way down to $18. And then it came out that at $18, the insiders who were working at the company for years, that was the first time they were allowed to sell it. I don't know how many millions of shares came out, but people were entitled. They worked for the company for years, and they made a sale. So instead of selling it much higher, they sold it at $18. They took it all from them. I don't know how many millions it was. As soon as those people made the sale, every story was the complete opposite, and it was positive then. So the shorts drove it down, covered on that thing, and then it was the greatest story ever, and it went straight to 200, wherever it went up to. It was amazing, and I had it all documented at the time, and I sent it to Zuckerberg. Obviously, nothing came out of it, but they're doing the same thing here. It's the same stupid pattern. The people have to file. If insiders own a stock, everyone, you have to file and register your shares with the SEC that you're going to potentially sell them. As soon as you do that, the shorts start selling it and say, well, William's selling his stock. Everybody, insiders are dumping, short it. That's all they do, and they use it against everybody. I don't understand why that's legal, but that's what happens. So I believe that's what they're doing in DJT. I have friends that are long from 32 down to here. All right, they've been buying it a little every day. They buy a little bit, and it's just amazing that every day I look up, it's down to 80 cents, down $1, down $1.50 every day. And this is a guy that said he wants to fight and punish naked shorts. And I'm looking at it, we all think that there's definitely an investigation going on because he's so quiet. He made a lot of noise and all of a sudden he's dark. So I think there is something going on, but that's my opinion. But I think they're doing exactly that. And there was a story on Seeking Alpha saying about the insiders going to dump and everybody's selling it, running in front of it. When they don't sell it, I think the stocks are going to go up. All right. What was going on in Finger Motion? They had filed that they were going to do a $300 million self-registration, right, William? I think it was an S3.
Yeah.
In case the stock ever went, they can always raise money anytime they like at the market without going to Wall Street.
Just like AMC, GME, Roaring Kitty.
Well, they put it out, and the stock was under pressure at that point. I told you Susquehanna reached out to a friend and asked if they wanted to buy stock, so they probably shorted it also. All right, but I never reached out to anybody about that. I just let it go dark. But they all do the same thing. When a company puts out a statement, they're looking to raise money. No one knows when they're going to raise it. They want to raise it on good terms, not bad terms. And no matter what terms they are, they try to hold you down. That's what they do. So I think that's what happened in Finger Motion, because the attack on from 7 down, when the company was listed, ringing the bell on the NASDAQ, it went from 4 down. It's just endless selling. I had some good people buying it. We drove it up to 318, and they came right back down. Those are the people that made a lot of money in GDC, and they bought a lot of stock, took it up to 318, and they walked away, and they let the shorts come beat it back down, and now they're getting stock half price. So 3, 2, they're getting an average price of 230, 240, and that's how you accumulate a big position. They're not here, everyone. So people on the phone say, why don't you get friends to just drive it up to the moon? They're not here to do that. They're here to accumulate and get the best price for this themselves or their funds, whoever they are. I have many people always say that to me. Just get them to buy it to the moon. I said, I would never tell you to do it. I would never would tell a client to do that. You let them do what's best for them. Accumulation is a killer. I know time drags on. We all know that, but we're down to 42 days. I'm telling you, go Google Pat Byrne. This guy is a wrecking ball. If anybody hates the shorts, it's this guy. He spent years, and he was diagnosed with cancer 4 times and survived, William. So this is not someone that's going to take it lightly.
Right.
Right, so I put my trust in him. I'm going to continue what I do, informing people of the trading patterns and keep whistleblowing. That's what I'm going to keep doing. But Patrick Byrne is, he is a knockout punch guy. He doesn't fool around. He doesn't take shit from anybody. If you go on Twitter and just follow him, he's a libertarian, but he's advising Trump because he believes in fair elections. And Pat Byrne doesn't believe there's been fair elections, and he is relentless. He is relentless. Go look at what he's posting about. He's been nonstop. He doesn't get paid by anybody. But because of the job that he's done, he's been offered a job in the administration if Trump wins, and he said it himself on the call. I'm coming in. I'm going to fix stock settlement. There's a bunch of bad guys here. We got to get them out. Those are his words. Write it there in the video. Everyone can listen to it. I posted before. It's free inside information. Never before have you been given the date and the event. What's the event? We got the election on the date, November 5th. And what's going to make it work? Stock settlement. They're firing Gensler on the first day. William, I saw a thing that Democrats are telling, what's her name, Kamala, to fire Gensler also. I'm laughing. That was rumored they were going to put him in someplace in the government. I forget for what.
They're gonna. Who are they gonna put in? Virginia countrywide?
No, I don't. Listen, they're not winning. If they win, we're all screwed anyway. We're here for. Listen, people. I'm not here for political reasons. All right, I'm not here. I could care less. There's too many idiots in D.C. I don't trust any of them as far as I can throw them. I want to make myself financially secure that I can do whatever I want. If you're financially secure, if one party wins and you're not happy, you can do whatever you like. You can move, leave the country. You can do anything you like. But if we're all sitting on the same boat and no one's going to help us out, we're all going to drown. There's no way to get out of dig out of your grave and enjoy a good life if you can't make money investing. All right? It's impossible. But I'm telling you, this market, again, I showed you how the other day about GameStop, I could just flip them all day long. I have no interest about where those companies are going. I look at trends. I like to flip them, buy them. I want to make myself 500, 1,000 a day, 5,000 a week, it's 20,000 a month. That's it. I don't need to be Warren Buffett making $1,000 a day. Buying 1,000 shares, you can make 30 cents, 40 cents, 2 or 3 times. It's $1,000. That's what I have to get back to support myself. And I know I can do it, whether it's, Trump wins or the other one wins, Kamala wins. But I want to make money for my family for life. I want to be able to buy stocks that I see that can have potential to become the next Apple, the next Nvidia. And that's how you create wealth for your family. All right. I hear from people about Northwest Bio that their drug has passed the science and they're just waiting for approval. What if that is correct? What if that is correct? The stock is 30 cents. Who in their right mind is selling a 30-cent stock that could potentially, and there's videos on it.
Hey, boy.
There's people that are taking the trial of the drug. It's brain cancer. It's 30 cents. If that is correct, and that company can and cure, help people stay alive from brain cancer, the stock could go to $30. It's 30 cents. Who in their right mind would be selling it down here? And that's what I'm trying to talk about. If things turn, you can get super wealthy on different stocks. Now, I know that stock has 1 billion shares outstanding. They destroyed the market cap of it. The company stayed alive and all that nonsense. I got it. But there's companies out there all over the place that are littered like this. Find whatever you like. I found my own. I've been studying it for 5 years. and it was a nothing. I had a top-up business, and now that I just keep seeing I can't even keep track of it. One gentleman put up the deal that they're working on with one of the biggest auto companies in China is working. The government owned.
Do you know that
Isn't
it
it?
took them 3 years to invent the atomic bomb?
So when you're saying that, I can't do anything. It takes me 100 years.
There's a lot
I have to
of
wait to.
there's
I
a
have
lot
to
of
wait till actually.
accomplishments in life that took less than 24 years.
I have to wait for the other side. I'm staying around. I'm so stupid. I have to wait for the other side to give up. That's about it. I can't get it right, but I can wear them out. That's for sure.
Right.
And just to let them know, if the shorts are on the phone, I went to the doctor. I passed my health exams with flying colors, so I'm not going anywhere except for a bum left knee. That's it. So I'm in good shape. So I could probably haunt everybody for another 20 years, easy.
I can be ineffective for another 20 years.
Hey, listen, I'm waiting it out. Again, I told someone that day I want the Pulitzer Prize. The prize they give the president? What was the one they gave Obama? What's it called?
Oh, the Peace Prize, the Nobel
Yeah,
Peace
the Nobel
Prize.
Peace Prize. I don't want the prize. I want the cash. I don't want anything else. Get out of here with those medals. I don't want anything. I just want to make sure that we have a stock that we can all make money from and move on from that point. And I think this is life changing. Now, again, we all trade stocks. We're all looking for inside information. We all look for that edge. Most people who trade on inside information have gone to jail, who have been subpoenaed by the SEC, you name it. I told you, Ivan Boesky was one of my clients. He never said anything, but we used to tail him and see what he was doing. All right, some people, his orders used to go to the floor. We know people that worked on the floor that used to know his orders. Everybody knows something. We always wanted an edge. What's he buying? Who's doing what? Who's this? Goldman's buying, Goldman's a seller, Morgan's doing this. We all knew. And you stay on top of it. And here it is. I'm giving you the information. It's coming from the next president of the United States. And Patrick Byrne potentially be the head of the SEC, or his position in the SEC can shape stock settlement. You can't get any better than that. That's better than IBM taking over some company, because the upside is infinite. If IBM's going to take over XYZ and the stock's 20, and they're going to take it over at 60, you're going to make 60 minus 20, you're making $40. That's your limit. And the stocks that we're following, if you're correct, the upside is infinite, because they have to buy back every share that they sold. So that's why I'm here. The information is right there in your face. Donald Trump said it in a video, I'm firing Gary Gensler day one. Pat Byrne told us in a video that he's going to come in and clean up stock settlement. This guy worked on cleaning up the elections in this country, whether you like it. He's a libertarian. He doesn't give a shit about Republican or Democrat. He never even voted for Trump. But that guy is a true American hero for what he's trying to do for everybody here. Otherwise, we're going to have a banana republic. Anybody becomes like Kamala. All of a sudden, she came out of nowhere. She's the next president of the United States. From where? She had never said a word yet. So again, this is Pat Byrne. That's who he is. He's a man that wants everything to be done by the right way, and he does not give up. He is a pit bull. Please just Google Pat Byrne. Look on YouTube. Put Pat Byrne naked short selling. Go look at his videos. He didn't do one. He did 500 of them. Pat Byrne hired Wall Street Journal reporters. I used to work with him. He hired financial writers. Judd Bagley used to do the videos. He hired experts. His family came from, he owned Geico, his father. I told you that story before. My father was a garbage man. His father owned Geico, sold it to Warren Buffett. That's where he grew up. I grew up in Coney Island. A little different, by the garbage dump. So again, we have Elon Musk, Pat Byrne, Donald Trump, Devin Nunes, even Ryan Cohen, and everybody else who hates the short sellers. Everybody hates them. Everyone calls it a scam. And they're all on our side versus Jeff Easton. We have Jeff Easton. That's who we're fighting about. And I promise you, the finger motion, whatever's going on in finger motion, I will present to Patrick Byrne. Patrick Byrne loves the idea of dividends. I'm going to present it to him. And William, that's a good question. Make sure you ask the CEO if you do get him on the call about the dividend. He said something last time. Are they still jockeying back and forth? Is it filing? I mean, you could ask that because people keep asking me, and I can only go by what lawyers are telling me. I have no idea. You know, this is something that you can ask him. So again, if anyone on the call, we'd like William to actually get freshen up and maybe get the CEO of the company on a conference call this week and go over some updates on what he can and cannot say. I don't know. What else? I'm less than 2 weeks away from getting my knee surgery. And I'm not happy about that, but I'm told the recovery. Think about pissed off I'm going to be out every day that I can't play ball. I got to sit around all day. You're not concerned about that, William?
Not really. Maybe you could learn to read a book.
I can't do that. I can't sit still. Are you kidding me? I've been up since 5:30 pacing. So I would talk stocks every day. And for those who wanted to know, you know, I maybe in 42 days, you know, me and William could sit down and we'll have a chat every couple of days about different stocks and we could talk about them, what we see, what we feel. But again, that'd be, you know, you come at your own risk on that because that's good. You know, in the stock market, things change so fast. You know, I could say, hey, I bought XYZ. You know, I go to the bathroom, I come back, it's up 2. I sold it because I have a good till cancel order in. And for those people who don't know what that is, a GTC, George, Tom, Charlie. Every stock you buy, as soon as you buy it, turn around and put it out for sale. You can put it up for sale 30 cents, 2 cents, $1, $2. This way, if you turn your head, if the stock was ever to rally up, you always make a sell. You can always cancel it, change it, but that is a must. That's a tool you must use. One of the shareholders, I won't tell anybody their name, they put it out in GDC and they sold it at $11.50.
Wow.
All right? Only because they put the order out there at GTC. And they called me up and thanked me because that's where they sold it. Paying $1, selling at $11.50, never thinking it was going to get there, but it did. It went to 12. They missed the top by 50 cents. All right, so remember, George, Tom, Charlie. All right, make sure you use it. Learn about it. It's easy. You buy a stock at 2. Hey, I bought 3,000 at 2. I like to sell 1,000 at 2.5, 275 and 3. That gives you 75-cent average times 3,000, right? Was it 22.50? And you just put it out there. If it runs to 302, you make all your sales. And you weren't even looking. Maybe you went to a doctor's appointment. You always put it out there. You could do it at night. You know, you don't have to you can put it out tonight. Whatever stock you own, you could throw it out there tomorrow. All right. Just remember, George, David, Charlie, that stock seems to have pretty good movements pre-market or after-market, so pay attention there. All right. So again, I don't know why. I'm not in the computer gang, but seems to that the algorithms seem to go crazy during pre-market or after-market. I never know when it's going to go. I don't know what tickles them, but whatever it is, that's when it seems to have a lot of action in it. Right? Pre-market, after-market trading normally is controlled by the thugs. I report on it every day. I've been getting up early, 6:30 in the morning, and I see them printing 20 shares, 2 shares, 1 share. Who the hell wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and sell 5 shares of a $2 stock? So I think that wherever is controlling our short, William, is offshore someplace.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting up earlier, and they're not in New York. I'm getting up at 6:30 in the morning in New York. They're getting up at 4:30, so they're probably doing it overseas somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep doing those crosses, those ridiculous crosses. September 11th. What's today's date? The 8th? I think
Mm-hmm.
it's the 8th.
It's
September
Bernie
11th,
Sanders'
everyone.
birthday.
Whose birthday is it?
Bernie Sanders.
Okay, yeah. September 8th. Today's September 8th. September 11th is the data on the real short. Remember, he short 1,450,000. He added 30,000. He went from 1,420,000 to 1,450,000. And that new data comes out September 11th. Sometimes it comes out the 9th. Sometimes it comes out, September 12th in the morning. I can't control that. But shortsqueeze.com, you can see yourself. We're at 1,450,000. We have no activity in the stock, so they're not covering. All right, unless they're washing it. I haven't seen anything like that. I see total inactivity from the shorts. I see little trades going back and forth, but not enough to change the needle on anything. So they're just sitting here dead, like the Titanic. They're just sitting here. If we had big buyers, I'm sure we can run them over, but I'm not in the business of going to find your big buyers. I find friends that want to accumulate, and that's the way I like to play it. All right, I'm here. I'm sorry if we don't meet your 1 minute time frame, but we're fighting a criminal organization. I think we have a massive short in the stock, and I think the rewards are going to be off the chart. You got the date, 42 days. You know the event, stock settlement, Patrick Byrne. That's better than a takeover. Believe me, I'm telling you, it's better than a takeover. Just think about Volkswagen, maybe at HKD. These things went for, even Peloton went from nothing to, $230. Beyond me, $200 from nothing. There's been many great short squeezes. All right. And I think that, even GameStop, obviously we all know that, from $3.75. And for those who don't know me, I did reports on it. I posted it on Twitter. Unfortunately, my account's been shut down by the shorts 3 times already. I've lost zillions of followers, not that I care. If you can't figure out how to follow someone that's trying to help you, then, I laugh at it because I see people follow, I don't want to say their names, but people that have zero knowledge or anything, and they have 100, 200, 300,000 followers, and people follow them. I don't even know how. Why would you even waste your time? And I have 1,600 people. I've had 30,000, 20,000, but they keep kicking me off because obviously they don't want me to have a following. They don't want anybody to be educated about what's going on. All I can ask everybody is, please tell a friend, be smart, teach them. You teach them. You don't need me to teach them because their financial freedom is at risk here. Their kids, their grandkids. If you can't support your own family members, God forbid you need to, you won't be able to. And believe me, I've seen people lose their houses trying to support their kids. It's a downward spiral. But finding a stock that can turn your life around, buying 10,000 shares of a stock at $2 and a year it's $18, it changes your life. These are things that are important. And believe me, I've had them. Okay, I never let them go to the extent. I always get out early. But I would, like I always told William, I'll tell everybody here, you never go broke ringing the register. You never look back. If I trade a stock for 30 cents, that means that every time I trade, I stay to the same patterns, 30, 40, 50 cents, 70 cents. I'm not here to make $20 a trade. I'm looking to make 1,000, 2,000 a day, and I'll see you later. That's the mentality of a trader. All right, so you have to make your decision. You want to be Warren Buffett? You can find stocks in a real market. You can find stocks and make a lot of money investing in good companies when you figure it out. But this is the crooked market, so I look at it saying, okay, I got to get back to learning to trade in the cracks because that's all they're going to allow you. Stocks look great, great, great. Turn your head, they're down, 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 down. How do you trade? How do you invest in stocks like that? It's very difficult. Finger motion, we're just breaking out 318, pushing it back down, trying to push it below 2. For what reason? I don't even understand what they were doing. Why wouldn't you want to sell 1 million shares at 4 versus selling 1 million shares at 2? At 4, they get 4 million. At $2, they get 2 million. Why would you leave a bigger paper trail at a lower level? So you got to sell more shares. That is the sign of fraud. That's the sign of a naked short. Holding it down because they cannot afford to let it go up. That is the clear sign, that trading pattern. GDC, it's a trading pattern in real time. You can actually see them trying to push it down. Same pattern. Why? Because they can't afford to let it go up. If they let it go high, why wouldn't they sell the stock at $20, $30? Make more money. No one cares. But they can't meet the margin calls because they get bought in. So as long as you understand that trading pattern, you could say, oh my God, there's shorts here too. You could see it. No one buys a stock at $3.18 to sell it down to $2 and lose 33% of the money in 10 days over nothing. No rumor, no story, nothing. Just pushing it down. But I do believe that the short sellers, the naked short selling, the short and distort gang, they're all worried because they're all going to go to jail. Just remember, the guys in Canada probably gave up 10 people, including Andrew Left, Hindenburg, all those people get caught. When they get subpoenaed, they start giving up. Andrew Left is going to give up 20 guys. He's going to give up the brokers. He's going to give up the prime brokers. He's going to give up the whole network that he's involved with. And once they get that network, then those people get people up. Now, it doesn't happen in a minute, but that's how it works. Everybody knows that. Go watch this stupid crime movie. You can see that. That's how they give it up. It's funny, William. I was watching a show last night on Apple TV called Slow Horses. It's about the MI5, the English Secret Service. Is that what it's called? MI5?
M15,
Yeah,
MI5, I don't know. I get
Whatever
the
it is.
roads confused with the services.
But anyway,
MI5.
last night the Secret Service guy
I'll
went
look
to
it up.
see someone that turned on the spies, and he made her give all the information, and she said to him, "You're going to protect me, right?"
Yeah,
He goes, "Yes."
MI5, MI section 5.
He goes, "Give this person a call, and tell him you want the number 7." And after he told her that he was going to get her protected by the agency, she gave up everybody. She gave up everyone in the network and how they killed this guy. He walks out. She's in a panic because she knows he's in trouble. She calls up. It's a Chinese restaurant. He said she wants number 7. The guy's like, "What? You want number 7?" They basically left her out hanging. That's what happens to the short sellers. Andrew Left is going to have to give up a lot of people not to go to jail for life. He's liquidating his house. All of a sudden, he went from being on CNBC, the hero. He was the hero of the short sellers, like that guy. For people that have been around and from GTI days, there was a guy. What was his name? Timothy Sykes. He's a paid basher, and basically gets all these guys at day trading firms, and they attack stocks after the reports come out. So that whole network is shut down because they have no reports to go after it to attack. We put his face and his name in front of the SEC. We reported him already before because he attacked GTII. These guys come out with these stories and just attack. So we let them all know about it. He takes pictures on a private jet with tons of cash in front of him, showing his Rolex. He's that type of trash. Okay, so again, there's networks and networks of these guys. The DOJ, FBI finally has to shut these things down. Donald Trump is putting out stories today that people that are doing things that have hurt in the U.S., he will basically turn on them. And I agree with that. And anybody that's naked short selling should face the same fate, jail. They deserve it. They're counterfeiters. And I think Donald Trump knows that there's plenty of GameStop money out here. GameStop raised $4 billion off a short squeeze. The stock went to 500. People came super wealthy out of GameStop. The company had nothing, now has $4 billion in cash. William, I just changed the subject for a second about GameStop. People call me up asking me about GameStop's earnings next week. What's your thoughts on that, William? I'm going to ask you.
Who cares?
That's what I said. I said, they got the money. Each day they open up, they spend money, they're hiring people. Have they started selling anything yet? What are they producing that they just got this money? I don't know. They can't possibly come out with earnings and beat the earnings numbers because they don't really do anything yet. Maybe in 2 years they'll have a great company because they have plenty of money. It's up to him to try to make something happen. But I'm like you. Who cares? What could they possibly done? Instead of having $4 billion, they'll have $3,900,000,$900 million. I don't know. I have no idea. So again, I don't know who's jamming it up. People ask me about it. I could care less. I would only tell you if you want to trade it, trade it. Good luck. I don't know. I know nothing about it. The short's covered. I don't know who's playing it, but don't ask me about it. I could care less. Anything else, William? Does anybody have any questions?
Well, one guy was asking, how did Buffett sell so much Bank of America and the stock didn't go down?
He's quiet about it, right? Because you know how Buffett does it?
No.
Right? Bank of America trades what?
He calls Ghostbusters?
40 million shares a day, right?
Right.
So Warren Buffett will go out there and they give orders to 300,000 to this guy, 200,000 to that guy, 800,000 to this guy. They use every broker on the street. And every broker who gets a Warren Buffett story, who gets a Warren Buffett sale of stock, knows that if their name gets out, they never get another order again. So if everyone on this phone call, if you were a broker to Warren Buffett, would you ever open your mouth to risk losing your business? And you sit there and say, well, I'm only selling 2 million shares of this thing. What's the big deal? Everyone's got a small order. But all around the street, there's orders everywhere. He may have his 20 brokers that he knows his whole life, guys that are 50 years old plus, that have been making a living their whole life executing for him. Are you going to open your mouth? Nope, I wouldn't. You're going to give him his sale and just tiptoe away, and here you go, here's my commission. Sold 2 million, they're going to say, hey, you know what? Instead of 2 cents a share, take 4 cents. Thank you very much, and you have a great day. And they come back to you all the time. Because if they hear your name, his name on the streets as a seller, then all those brokers lose it. They won't get any more business. That's how it's done. And they do it every day. You wouldn't even know. 40 million shares. If he sold, how many shares did he sell? 100? I mean, how many he sold? I forgot how many he sold.
$7 billion worth. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it was a $40 stock at the time when he was selling it. So it depends how many shares he sold. And you could tiptoe out of it quickly. Market's surging one day. What do? They lay into it. Instead of the stock being up 2, it's up $1.25. They're pretty smart when they sell it. They say, do not turn the stock down on the day. Keep it in the positive. The market's up big today. Keep it positive. They want people to, they want to be able to liquidate, but they don't want the stock's up 2. Make sure it closes up $1.25 or up $1. Because it still leaves a positive trend, and other funds come in the next day and they want to buy some bank stocks, and they're able to sell into it the next day. But if they just came out and bashed it down like Lynn Partners does, right? Most people sit there and say, hey, bad news is on the way. And that's why they don't do that. You want to get people to buy the stock, not turn it into a fire sale. And that's what they're doing in KNW and GMGI. Those are the 2 Lynn deals I talk about all the time. Lynn is not killing those deals because they haven't made enough sales yet. So they're trying to hold it up. Finger Motion has no deal with them. We have a trapped naked short through their network. And yet we have selling every second of the day, 200, 300, 200, 300. You can't close your eyes, and they're selling 1 share at a time like a machine gun. KNW can walk away. The company's worth pennies because of the debt spiral note that they have with the company. And I walk away and the stock doesn't trade for 2 hours. And I'm like, what's going on? How come no one's selling this stock? Because they don't want to mark it down. They want to hope that the CEO comes out with some good news, promotes it for them, and sends some more investors to their death. That's what they're waiting for. Finger motion has no deal, yet we have manipulation like crazy all day long. I'm just trying to show you the difference between the two. Lynn is hoping people to come buy it because obviously they want to make more sales. Before they convert at a penny, they want to make as many sales. When you want to sell more at 30 cents so you can buy it back at a penny, obviously, right? But they have no deal here, so they're just trapped and they're trying to push it down to get people to bail out. It's very different. Any other questions, William?
Well, this is a question, but maybe it's a thought. Is it fair to say that illegal selling of GTII drove the company's share price in the ground? So basically, crime pays?
Yes, crime does pay, except when they catch you and you go to jail for life. So you have to make that decision. All right, but again, GTII is not dead. I think you need to go watch Richard's videos. Big shareholders that I know took on management, removed management, have won in the court to remove management, and there's a what is it, a trustee? What do you call him, William? I forgot what he's called.
Receiver.
A receiver that now is going to clean up the company, get the audited financials, get everything back in check, get it relisted on a higher exchange again, and it turns the game around. We know companies that want to merge into GTII, but it takes time to get those other steps in place. And the company will be better, stronger, and cleaner when all that is done. And we're just letting Richard is following the bouncing ball. And just watch his videos. Again, I don't follow it on a daily basis because I got a lot of other moving things that are moving quicker.
So when you have a bad hair day, how do you handle it?
Well, today was a great day. It was nice and windy out. I didn't have to worry about anything. You're trying to get me a low blow, huh, William?
I don't know. It wasn't my question.
My hair was flowing. It used to flow like George Costanza. It was flowing. So you get older and you lose a few strands. What can you say? My wife cuts my hair with the dog clippers. That's how I get my haircuts now.
Turn a bowl upside down.
She ties me up like a dog at the dog salon and just stand there and she shaves me down. That's it. Nobody else has anything to say.
No,
I'm trying my best to repeat everything for you.
It's pretty quiet.
I appreciate your time, but again, I try to be ready for Monday, understand everything that's going on with this stock. We're down to 42 days, not 45. I made a mistake. Some guy corrected me, and I thanked him. Again, people, I need everyone's eyes. Everyone's eyes work. I can't remember every story. For the gentleman that told me about the auto thing, I had no idea. William just brought it up. They've been working with them for over a year, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea of that. I can't keep up on this thing. I told you shareholders want me to try to get William to get another video interview with the CEO again, just to freshen it up. We got 42 days to go. If one of the people I'm talking to wants to buy 1 million shares, he wants to, see some updated information from the CEO. So let's try to get it for him. William's going to reach out, see if he can get it done. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. I don't know. But that will help people that want to make a decision like that. People who run money have to have a reason to do things. It's not like they're responsible for the money. They run money for wealthy individuals, and they need to have a reason. Hey, I bought 1 million shares of the stock. I put up $2 million. If it goes to zero, these guys are on the hook, and they got to tell their clients, hey, I lost $2 million on this company. What's your reason? Why did you buy it? He sits there and he shows them. And that's how these guys protect themselves. It's not just go running like in a casino. Hey, let me bet this slot machine. Let me go here. Let me go there. It's not like that. Some people are not allowed to buy stocks until they're above a certain price. That's why they push them down also. They block institutions from buying it. One of our shareholders, who happens to be in GTI and Finger, has someone that's very close to Warren Buffett. And he pitched them on a stock, and they're not allowed to buy it until it passes 5. Okay, so we know people are reaching out to good people, but they are restricted. That's how it is. Nothing else, William?
Not really. No, they're.
Well, listen, it's a beautiful day. A lot of people watching football. I just wanted to, I
Do
couldn't do it
they
tonight.
manipulate Wall Street on Jewish holidays?
No, it's funny they don't. It's funny. I've studied that, and it seems like that's a day that the markets aren't manipulated much. I don't understand why. Maybe we can figure it out one day. I'm not
They
sure
never
if
have
our,
a. They never have
I'm not
a.
sure if that our manipulators are Jewish or they just don't like to manipulate on those days. I'm not sure. I can't figure it out yet. I have my own thoughts on it, but it is an interesting thought.
Um, I used to like PLUG. That was followed, but they got crushed by the criminals.
Oh yeah, they did a fuel cell. I think
Yeah.
FCEL was another one. FCL just did another reverse split. I think that's the third time. So think about being an investor. You found this company, it's got great technology, and this was like 10 years ago. It's reversed 3 times. William, what happened to you when you raised money for a company? How many shares did you have, and how many you have left? Tell
Well,
me.
when I wanted more, we had a big set to with the company, and I thought it was unfair, but ultimately we agreed to take 300,000 shares for all the money we raised. I split it with my associate, so I had 150. And when I got them, they were worth approximately almost £2, and the pound was more than the dollar. So I don't know, $300,000-400,000. My associate sold his because he's smart. He always just sells. He never holds anything. And I thought, no, I like the story. I'll hang on. So I hung on. And then I hung on longer than I wanted to because I could never get the certificates back into the system. So I still have my shares. I just got in the mail, I don't know, 3 months ago. I have 1 share. They did reverse splits and all that. I have 1 share trading at $4. And the company's a great company. It's doing great. It's got revenues, projects, changed its name. It's on the London exchange, but I got 1 share instead of 150,000.
So basically what happens is they destroy the stock. The companies are still going down the road. For example, CELU is a company like that. They did the reverse. ROOT. My friend bought. I forget how many shares did he buy in the IPO. I think it was 100,000. I think it was 100,000 he bought in the IPO, and they did a 25-for-1 reverse or something like that. So he's lost most of his position, and the company's still going on. It's a big company, but yet everyone that invested in the beginning has gotten crushed. That's what they do to the companies. The market caps of the companies get destroyed. And when you see a company do a reverse, that means it's the end of the road. Because what happens is when it does reverse, the short sellers lose the percentage of the reverse. Their position is wiped out. They're free. They stole it. It's all gone. And when it pops back up to the higher level again, because they did a reverse, they start shorting it again. And I'll give you an example.
Particularly if the company needs to raise money, and that's the thing.
Even so, the symbol ROOT was the biggest IPO in Ohio's history. It was a $6 billion IPO.
Yeah.
I forget the high price of it. My friend, I think he came out at 25, 27. So my friend put up $2.7 million, I think. They killed it always down to $1. Then the company gets the notice from NASDAQ they're going to be delisted unless they maintain the dollar price. The company does the reverse. They reversed it back up to $25. 25 for 1 reverse. It went back up to 25. Everybody was, okay, we took a big hit, but okay. They drove it from 25 back down to $6 or $7 again. Okay, and then eventually it had to squeeze back up. But the damage was all done. People were wiped out. The people looking at it now say, well, this company's a $40 stock. everything's okay. But everyone who founded this company, everyone who invested in the beginning, was wiped out because of the reverse. And that's Wall Street. I call it the car wash. Just repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse. That's what they did. They did it to that company, CEI. It traded up to 5 one time. It went from 20 cents to $5. Traded 1 billion shares a day at $4-5. They reversed it after they killed it back down. They reversed it. The company's gone. They reversed it back up to 14. And I knew a gentleman out of Texas. He owned it. I told him to sell it, and he didn't want to sell it. And he held on, and to zero. The company's gone. Once they get on top of you, you can't get rid of them.
Exactly.
And they just keep stealing money, stealing more. Money just keeps coming from everybody's pocket. They take it from your pensions. I don't care if you're a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, everyone. I don't care if you're black, white, Puerto Rican. It doesn't make a difference. Everybody. They're stealing from everybody. They steal from Republicans. They steal from Democrats, Libertarians, everyone. And it needs to stop.
My favorite is the mother of all reverse splits was CRTD, and now the stock is at all-time low. They did 500 for one for 500. It's now trading at 28 cents.
And a friend of mine is deeply involved with that guy. He got his ass wiped. For some reason, he liked him. He kept putting money up. He asked me. I said, I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about it. And he just put money up, and he got his ass wiped.
It's remarkable. The stock, based on the split, I can't read all the numbers, but it looks like it traded up to 8,000.
Based on the numbers, right?
Yeah, on the reverse.
That's how much money was taken out of that company. It was $21 when I first heard about it. It was 21 down to 20 cents. Then it rallied back up to $2, and then it turned into a complete shit show with this guy.
And you wonder if he's part of it.
He was fighting the shorts. He was fighting the shorts, William, when I met him. But then he went the other way where he didn't believe the shorts. Then he came back, and now he's shorts are back again.
Or he was in on it all along.
I have no idea.
Because he's not an idiot. So
I told you, he was fighting the shorts. The next day he wasn't fighting the shorts. Now he's fighting the shorts. Now he's not fighting. Got me. He went to D.C. to protest. He wanted to be a part of it. And listen, again, if you don't see what's going on, they're stealing from you. Listen, they're stealing from you. If you're old enough, they're stealing from you. If you're young enough, they probably stole from your parents. They're stealing from you. They're going to steal from your kids when you do have them, and they're going to steal from your grandkids. And you can say, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" Well, this has been going on since what is it? What did I say? 1986, whatever it is, February 1988.
To me, it's like that. It's on steroids since the Reg Show passed. That was a lobbyist's dream, Reg Show. Did DJT raise money? Did they raise money?
Not that I know of. I told you what we heard. Devin Nunes told people that I know that they won't take money unless it goes above the short squeeze trigger.
Oh, okay, and
that's it.
Spani wonders if the penthouse pictures are worth anything.
I don't know what that means.
He said, so he guessed the dirty pictures weren't worth squat.
Dirty pictures of what? I'm lost.
Vocal CRTD. Their main asset was a collection of penthouse pictures.
Right, penthouse pictures, right? Dirty pictures. You're right. Good one. Listen, I don't really follow fundamentals. I followed finger motion back in the day because they're dealing in China. Everyone was talking China. the biggest market in the world. So I found a company that I thought that was interesting. All of a sudden, they got this contract to top up everyone's telephone bills. And we said the same thing like everyone else. Don't they have AT&T and Verizon? No, you have to buy minutes. If you have no minutes, your phone goes dead. If your phone is dead, you can't run around, you can't do anything. There's no money in China. I said, wow, all that's going to go to them. How do they make money? Well, they make small margins. What is it like? A toll booth. They just, every time they buy something, I'll just say they buy minutes at 99 cents and they sell it to the consumer at $1. That was the business model. And it goes on forever. Everyone needs their phone. From that, they went into text messaging. They went into data. They went into this. It's cell phone insurance. The thing just keeps spinning into doing different things. And just like the guy from The Big Short, he got in early and he suffered. I'm getting in early and I'm suffering. But you know what? Like he said, it will pay. And that's what I believe. And I believe the difference between his thing and what we have is that ours is infinite to the upside. Infinite. And it's very rare. The best business model on Wall Street is the short squeeze. GameStop, because most people here remember it, will show you that. And for the people that got in at 3 3/4 and sold it at 200, 300, and 400, I'm sure they did quite well. Same thing happened beyond Meat, Peloton. What was the pod company? TLRY. I remember Taser. Krispy Kreme was another one. Kodak was another one. Even that KOSS, it went to $125 from $3. Pat Burns, $3 to $128. Short squeezes. That's it. Finding them is a needle in a haystack. We just happened to found one in GDC. It wasn't a million points, but it went from 3 to below $1. From below $1, it went to 12. So for those who bought in below 3 and made a nice trade out of it, congratulations. That was a short squeeze. It wasn't the greatest of the greatest, but it was a short squeeze. They come in all shapes and forms. Finger motion has not had the mother of the short squeezes yet. And you can tell that they're in a panic because they keep trying to hold it down because they know what's going to happen. But the end is coming to an end. 42 days, Pat Byrne. That's it. We can't keep going on unregulated with no one stopping this crime. It just can't go on. There's too many people yelling at it, from the MMTLP people, the GameStop people, the AMC people, the Tesla people. Everyone's screaming about shorts. That's all I ever hear every day. And the American people that don't want to look into this or protect themselves, they just get robbed. And that's what happens. How'd you do? I lost $20,000. I can't believe that stock. And let me blame the CEO. Let me go blame the company. A lot of these companies, the CEOs don't know what's going on. I told you I met with CELU. I met the CEO. The guy was a neurosurgeon in a trauma center. And he works on infectious disease. He had no idea that he's got his pants pulled down and got raped. He has no idea. But he just did what Wall Street told him to do. His lawyers told him, hey, you got to take the money. He took the money. Now he said, you got to reverse the stock. Well, he did that. He did both of those things. And now he's stuck. But his company's still here, and he's still working on infectious disease. So as the CEO, just how Wall Street operates, he doesn't know. And told the shareholders they lost all their money. And maybe one day he comes out with something he probably will come out with something that can save lives, but meanwhile, financially, everyone got wiped out. I'm here to stop that before they come after us. And I think I've done a good job in protecting everybody from that disaster. Right? You don't see me recommending anything, William, that I follow that's reversed yet. You should know me, right?
No.
I told everyone CELU, stay away. I told everyone KNW, stay away. As soon as I knew they were starting to take money, take a walk, get out of here. If the CEOs are not for you, you got to get away. CRTD, that guy was calling up my friends institutions telling them they should sell the stock because we don't want fast money people here. That's what he told my friends. What a moron that guy was. Anyway, it's a Sunday, everyone. I thank you for coming on. The most important thing is I wanted William, because there are serious investors that want more from the CEO, an updated video. William, I think you should jot down some questions, see if you can reach out to him and set up a day and get something going. And the sooner the better, because these guys really want to make a decision on what they're going to do. And they're serious people. So again, if you can do something like that, it'd be great for all of us.
Sure.
All right. Remember my question: how did employees feel working for a company, working hard, and their bonus money keeps evaporating because of Wall Street criminals like Jeff Easton? How do they feel about it? How do you keep the morale up? Is the morale strong because they know that what's going to happen eventually with this company? They can see the growth, they can feel it, or they just wishing and hoping? It's curious because remember, when the stock prices go down, imagine working there and you got 100,000 shares and you've been here for 3 years and the stock was 7 and now it's 2, and you got to pay for your kids to go to college or whatever you need it for, and you say, oh my goodness, I can't keep a job like this. I can't risk my whole life working years and losing all my money. That's what they do. They destroy companies. They destroy them from within. The employees start to quit, and that turns it into a debt spiral. And you say, how do you know that? Well, I remember a company, EKSO, where they help handicapped people walk, and there's a robot, and it takes 3 people to operate, 2 people to put the handicapped person into the robot, and they calibrate it, and there's someone working the robot, and they get people standing up, and the robot walks people around that had strokes or that had their legs amputated. They teach them how to walk again, and this robot does it. Well, the people that were working there, and I met them, they were all getting like $80,000 or $90,000 a year. Now, if they remained in a physical therapy job, they would make about $110,000 a year. But their bonus for working for EKSO could be anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a year in stock. Well, the stock got naked shorted to a penny. These people lost all their bonus and said, you know what, I can't work like this. I'll go back to physical therapy. At least I guarantee making 100. And those people left. Now the poor people that are handicapped have no one to get into that machine to help train them how to walk again. And you say to me, my God, how do you know that? I've seen it in person. I met those people, real time. I screamed at the CEO. He had no idea what was going on. What did he do? He took the money, reversed the stock. They fired the CEO. And all the employees started quitting because they couldn't get any bonus money, so no one was working. So what person is going to handle a handicapped person unless they're a licensed physical therapist? Debt spiral. That's why they call it a debt spiral. Everyone, listen, thank you. It's a Sunday. I'm going to go sit down and watch the football games like everybody else and enjoy the rest of the day. And we'll touch base tomorrow. William, work on that for the conference call if you can. Or the video, whatever it is.
All right. Thanks for putting me on the spot in front of everyone.
Well, if you can't do it, you can listen. It's not up to you. Send him an email. Try to figure it out if he can do it. If he can't do it, he can't. But if we can, it'll only help us. That's all. If he can't, listen, it is what it is. Listen, information, education is how you win, right? So if the CEO is allowed to tell us and he's smiling, we know everything's going to be good, right? Just watch the videos. He's always upbeat. CEOs don't do videos. All right, if the world is collapsing, who wants to go in there and say, oh, yeah, the ship won't sink as you're halfway underwater? We can tell. We can all see it. Anyway, William, thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll speak tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Call ended.
All right. This one stock that Bunny Chico is talking about, he's saying it's going to explode to 15. Well, it's at 11. So it's already bounced off. I just looked. Apparently, there's a lawsuit dismissed against it. The stock looks terrible. The maybe he's right. Maybe there's something good, but I can tell Bunny Chico is trading the next squeeze. Well, this is what they want. They want you to buy it up and then they'll sell it back down. I really cannot recommend that you chase that one. I could be wrong, but it would, you know, it just fits the same pattern. The stock came off of its lows, runs up, everybody rushes in. They do a deal, or the shorts come and short it back down. Thanks, Annette. Thank you, the one. And I'll tell them. You would hope it'd work, but penny a share, they'll just pay out. It's just a cost of doing business. I didn't see your question. They use the market. It goes through. It doesn't go in dark pools. But I'll check that next point. Here comes a boo bird. Oh no, I actually agree with you on that. I actually think I actually agree with Gumkus. I think the stock was squeezing before the shorts came in and manipulated. So sorry, I agree with you. I think Shibu Inu has a future, but I don't think that it'll go up. There's no limit. Well, unless it's changed. But it used to be there was no limit to the number of coins. So I don't see much upside in that. In GameStop, I see zero upside. I like XRP, but it'll be volatile, but I like that one. I can't tell you why. Back when I was studying all of these, I liked it, and there were a couple of others I liked. Northwest Bio, I think, will be purchased by a large biotech firm. Pick your number. If all the tests are as they say they are, I mean, it could be anything. $100 a share, $50 a share. So, but that's the only hope for Northwest Biotech. The shorts will continue to destroy it. It's over 1 billion shares. I think it'll get bought out though. AMC, I don't see anything for AMC or GameStop. And you don't need to make money back. I mean, I don't know why GameStop's giving you some chances to take a profit. I don't know why. You've got to turn into trading. The squeeze you thought you were going to get, it was going to go to the moon, it's all that. They stopped it. And since then, you've had several chances to trade out, but you're frozen. You're frozen. And I know it's hard. It's really hard to sell. But those rallies are perfect times to sell. And then, what if it goes? That's what your brain is telling you. And it would have been a perfect opportunity. Sell. But it's so hard to do. So hard to do. But now you would be looking back and saying, God, I got out at 60. Instead, we're back down to 23. And the idiot comes out and roars. I don't know. I'm a pretty old man, don't have much time left. Wish finger would squeeze in the next calendar year. Well, I'm not of the view that finger's about to squeeze. I always have to explain myself. and I'll do it quickly. I'm not going to draw it. I think Finger at $2 has, but you don't care. You don't care about the fundamentals, so I won't go through the fundamentals. I think the stock at $2 could be a $3, $4, $5, $6 stock over the next months. The trepidation I have is you're coming into tax loss selling season and portfolio rebalancing. But I think based on the fundamentals, there's a number of things that could get your money to double, which is pretty darn good. Now, if the stock were to go to 4 or 5 or 7 and just stay there based on fundamentals and then grow from there, perhaps a squeeze could come from that point. That's how I see it. Ham thinks the squeeze is imminent, and you're going to see the stock go to skyward. Not legal advice is on at 8 tonight with GTI update. So everybody tune in to Not Legal Advice. He never sold. There's no news on I mean, I'm not going to go through it again, Clark. GTII is now on what's called the expert exchange. They decided not to make their financial filings. GTII continues to be a piece of shit. There's no reason to buy it. There's no reason to sell it. The whales and the great people are doing hard work to try to make something happen. But Clark, write it off in your head. Write it off. Just write it off in your head. Now, you don't have to write it. You have 4 months free look. Free look. If a miracle happens in receivership, great. If it doesn't, in December, you can write it off. You have 2,100 shares. Let's say you paid $2 for those shares. Let's say you paid $5. I don't know what you paid. $5. So you put 10 grand in. You could write it off to zero. Check with an accountant first. You have a $10,000 loss. If you have gains anywhere else, that is worth value. Let's pick a number. Let's say you make money in a trade in, I don't know. Let's say you bought, I'm not going to pick a stock, but let's say you made a profit next year of 10 grand. If you offset it against a $10,000 loss, your 10 grand, let's say it's taxed state and federal at 40%, 10 grand, 4 grand. You originally bought, you have 2,000 shares. You save 4 grand in taxes. Divided by 2, that's worth $2 a share. But you don't want to think, you want to just hang on to the loss. There's no news on GTII. The receivership moves forward. And that's court. That has nothing to do with trading. So there's nothing that news schmooze. News schmooze. You want it to get out of receivership. That's the only thing you're waiting on. Watch Big JR. I know it's JR and Not Legal Advice at 8 o'clock. I dated and lived with a penthouse pen of the year. Wow. I'm Yellows. Penthouse pet of the year. I hope she wasn't petted too much. I got it. He's not going to care about that. But I'll tell him about it. I forgot. No, I'm not going to waste his time with that one. Penthouse Pet of the Year. All right, Galadan. I believe the science in peer review publication with other combo trials. I agree with him. I think NWB is a takeout target. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's gonna be bought out, and one day you'll wake up, it'll be 50, and then there'll be an arbitrage, and it'll be bought out at 80. All right, I'm gonna go walk my dog quickly. Um, I appreciate everyone. No, I did misunderstand. I did misunderstand your post, and I apologize. I did misunderstand it. Um, I agree with you 100% with what you said, Gunkus. Um, but I'm gonna go try to walk him, and then I've got to be somewhere at 5:30, and it'll take me half an hour to get there. So I got a boogie oogie oogie. My opinion, GTII will have to file a new 15C211, which, yeah, Robert, I don't actually know why they'd have to file a new one, but maybe it makes sense to me. Your point makes sense to me, but I do think it's going to take time. I do think it's going to take time. Um, and yeah, I'll get back to you, John. Thank you for your email, and Mr. T. Thank you, John. And so let me go back to that guy. I didn't mean to be hard on him. That who had 2,100 shares? Oh, here it was, Clark. Look, Clark, what I think you should do is just write it off in your head. At the end of the year, write it off. You can't sell it. There is no value. Now Google it or talk to an accountant first, but I would write it off, and then 31 days later, if it starts trading, you can sell it. But the negatives of writing it off: you start your clock again for short-term, long-term gains. That's one. Two, the negative of writing it off is if it starts trading again, your cost basis is zero. You will have a capital gain if something good happens. But I don't see it, Clark. I think we're just fantasizing at this point. If it can get through the court system, and if there's a large short position, and if a deal can be made, Clark, no sane company is going to reverse split into GTII while there's legal machinations going on. So stop torturing yourself. Accept that it's dead. There's other stocks to make money in. But it doesn't have to be dead forever. Well, how? Oh, so there's no hope. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think there's any hope. But there's no hope? Yeah, well, on the other hand, you've listened to Richard, listen to what the receiver might do, listen to the deals that might come in, listen to all that, but it's going to take time. The shorts won. But it's not over. No one's quitting. And I don't know what else to tell you, Clark. I don't know what else to tell you. But let's say at the end of the year you wrote it off. Do you know, even if you have no gains in your portfolio, you can take $3,000 off against your income. And if you're in a 30% tax bracket, and then you add in your state, that's worth $1,000 to you. And if you do that for 2 years in a row, that's $6,000 that you're writing off. Maybe it's the value to you is a little over $2,000. That's $1 a share. It's $1 a share. It's something. It's something. But anyway, I will leave it here. Tune in to Not Legal Advice at 8 p.m. I wish everybody the best. I'm going to go walk my boy, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace to everyone. And I don't know how to sign out. Oh, here it is. Cheers.